Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
I can. Commissioners Gershenson,
Here.
Angel,
Here.
Hoffman,
Mic on. Your mic on, Bob.
It looks like there he is.
Hoffman.
He's frozen.
Yeah, he's frozen.
I'll come back to him. Jackson,
Present.
Kokendorfer,
Here.
Kowal,
Hello. Here.
Commissioner Cohn,
Here.
Long,
Here.
Lubes,
Here.
Markham,
Here.
McGilvery,
Here.
Middleton, Commissioner Middleton here. I'm not seeing him.
He was on earlier.
He was on. He's disappeared. He's frozen too, somewhere in space.
Me.
Oh, there he is. Nope, he was there and then he was gone. All right, I'll come. I think he's trying to get it. I'll come back. Miller,
Here.
Nelson,
Here.
Powell, birthday girl, Powell,
Here, thank you.
Quarles,
Here.
Biz,
Present.
Top,
Here.
Weibert,
Here.
Woodward,
Here.
Zach,
Here.
Hoffman.
Present.
Thank you. And Middleton. Okay.
He is here.
He is here. All right, Mr. Chair, you have a quorum.
All right, excellent. Moves us on to the invocation for tonight's meeting. Commissioner Gershenson.
Thank you. I'd like to thank my fellow commissioners and staff for their willingness to meet whenever necessary to help ensure that we are doing everything we can to help our county push through this pandemic. Let us stand together and respect our medical leaders' intellectual and scientific integrity, and honor all our frontline workers, doctors, nurses, grocery and delivery clerks, and all those brave folks who've kept our county moving forward. Life has always been uncertain, and the uncertainty of this pandemic has certainly fueled fear and anxiety. I would ask all of you to think for a moment about all those men, women, and children around the world that have dealt with or are dealing with the effects of this pandemic. The residents we all represent look to us and count on our sound judgment and integrity to support all efforts to move our county forward and keep our residents healthy. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. And why don't you lead us in the, I have a flag here. Lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
Allegiance
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
Republic,
under God,
and
indivisible,
one
with
nation,
liberty and justice
under
for
God,
all.
indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner. Moves us on to approval of the agenda for tonight's single item meeting. Is there a motion to move by Commissioner McGilvery, seconded by Commissioner Gershenson? All in favor of approving the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Nay.
For the record,
Nay.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll on approving the agenda.
Mr. Chair, I do have a question or comment.
Well, we have a motion. Is it on the motion to approve the agenda?
Yes, it is.
But
Yeah, I'm just wondering from a
Commissioner
communication standpoint, in some cases, we accept the communications from Mr. Carlson. Is that going to be part of this? I didn't see it added on here, so that's what I'm wondering.
no, I mean, I think the focus of this meeting we'll include it in the future meeting, and we'll have it on the next pandemic response committee, and we'll accept it at a future meeting, but not
All right,
today.
thank you. Thank you.
Was that the only objection to, well, Madam Clerk, call the roll on approving the agenda.
Okay, on approval of the agenda, Commissioners Gingell,
No.
Hoffman, Commissioner Hoffman, you're
I
muted.
think he's frozen.
Mute,
No, he's moving.
Bob.
Oh, yeah, he is moving.
So Bob, if you would pull the cursor down and unmute yourself. Madam Clerk, why don't you continue and come back to Bob?
Okay, we'll come back to him. Commissioner Jackson,
Yes.
Okendorfer.
Yes.
I'm sorry, was that a yes?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I just hear the S, so I don't know if it's a yes or a pass.
Sorry.
I just want to make sure I'm getting it right. Kowal,
Yes.
Kuhn,
Yes.
Long,
Yes.
Lubes,
Yes.
Markham,
Yes.
McGilvray,
Yes.
Middleton, Commissioner Middleton,
His headphones aren't working.
Commissioner Middleton signals he's voting no.
no, okay.
Commissioner Hoffman is coming back in again.
Hoffman on the, well, no, I
He's
don't know.
coming right back in again. He's
Okay,
coming.
I'll come back when I go through the alphabet. Okay, Miller,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Howell,
Yes.
Quarles,
Yes.
Biz,
Yes.
Bob,
No.
Whitebert,
Yes.
Woodward,
Yes.
Zach,
Yes.
Gershenson,
Yes.
Hoffman. Commissioner Hoffman on approval of the
Hoffman.
agenda?
On approval of the agenda. Give me a thumbs or a thumbs up or thumbs down. Thumbs up or thumbs down.
You can't. Can you hear them?
No, he disappeared.
Well,
He's got a
here.
little different box to the
This?
microphone too, if you notice. Want something different, Chris Ward?
I got Commissioner Hoffman on my phone. If you want to.
You're gonna put it on speaker so we can hear him?
Yeah, you want to let him know what he's voting on.
Commissioner Hoffman on the approval of the agenda?
Yes.
Thank you. So, Mr. Chair, you have 18 yeas, 3 nays.
Sufficient number voting in the affirmative, the agenda is approved. That moves us on to communication. Madam Clerk, are there any communications?
Not today.
No communications, okay. And moves us to public comment. Do we have Andrea on?
Yes, I'm here. We currently have one caller, but they wouldn't want to speak for public comment. So we have no email submissions and there's no others waiting.
Okay, seeing that there's no one wanting to speak and there's no email communications for public comment, I'll declare public comment closed. That brings us on to reports of standing committees, and I'm going to move us down to the first item. This Board of Commissioners extend continuation of local state emergency due to coronavirus pandemic to June 12th, 2020. Is there a motion? Moved by Commissioner Gershenson, seconded by Commissioner Nelson. Any discussion? Commissioner Whiteford.
you know, we have no problem getting together in 18 hours notice, so I see no reason that we need to extend just so that we can grant the power to the executive. We have no problem with 18 hours notice. We're full board here. We can meet anytime. We've done it before. We can do it again. I think it's time to let the county commission review the spending and make the decisions and perform the oversight.
Commissioner Gershenson, followed by Commissioner Spitz.
Yes, it's my understanding the reason we're requesting this extension is that when we purchase personal protection items when you're in a state of emergency, you get better value for the items that you're hoping to purchase. So I believe that is the reason for the request.
Commissioner Spitz.
You'd have to define value for me because as of right now, everything is a lot more expensive. So to me, that is not a better value. Plus, you don't get the opportunity to bid, and you don't have you lose all your competition. So to me, I don't support that argument. I also understand there's a potential that we're going to start meeting weekly at a request of the administration. If that's the case, I really don't understand why we would need this. But with that, I do have an amendment I'd like to propose.
Certainly. Which one is the one in the order, or?
Yeah, I got to get to it. Should be the first one.
Okay.
Which is
Page 12?
page 12. Yep, 12.
All right.
To
Okay.
add another be it therefore resolved that the Oakland County Board of Commissioners requires the county executive and his administration to renegotiate the hardship pay rates to obtain parity with our local cities, villages, and townships and return them to their normal rate prior to the end of this extension. So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Spitz, seconded by Commissioner Gingell. Do you want to speak to your amendment, Commissioner Spitz?
Yes, I do. As we continue to extend these emergency powers of the executive, we can also continue to extend the hazard pay that we're paying all the employees that was negotiated at the very onset of this issue. And I believe, as everybody is aware, we have started to reduce meetings. We've started to reduce all the coordination relative to COVID-19 as it starts to reduce and continue on the downward trend. I believe we also sent some of our services up to help the poor citizens of Midland during the flood. So to me, we need to start pushing towards reducing these hazard pays that we as Oakland County are continuing to do, as the support for COVID-19 in general has reduced drastically from day one.
Commissioner Gingell.
Yep, thank you. I want to add on to Commissioner Spitz's comments. You know, when you look around the local city and villages that have firefighters, police services, they weren't able to provide hazard pay to their first responders, et cetera. And when you also look around us at a regional level, Wayne County and what they paid from a more of a bonus perspective, our program's really, really, really rich. And we did a great job for the unions negotiating the, 1.5, now 1.35. And if you look at the citizens, the residents, this cost is running up to roughly $10 million. I think it was around $6 million for the first pay period, and now it's likely to extend again. My concern is that even though we may have FEMA money or CARES Act money to replace this expense, it's still not responsible. We need to get the unions and the other employees of the county moving back to the normal rate and start shifting the mindset that the time and a half, times 1.35, it's moving back down to its normal rate sooner than later.
Anyone else wants to speak? I'm gonna, Commissioner Markham. I'm gonna put myself in the list after Commissioner Markham. Commissioner Markham.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, with all due respect to my fellow commissioners, I could not disagree more. Our first responders and the people at the county, as one of the commissioners just said, at the drop of a hat, went up to Midland with our expertise. The county operates at a level of support to all of the CVTs. I think it is absolutely sending the wrong message to say that we don't want to support our workers who have stepped up and done more than we've ever asked them to. And I will be voting no on the amendment. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Markham. I agree with that sentiment. I fully support our first responders, our law enforcement, our corrections officers, those in Children's Village that have to, because of our 24/7 operations, are at more risk of this as we hopefully get out of COVID-19 at this point. I look forward to that celebration, but I fully support. I have supported the hazard pay. I continue to support the hazard pay, and I do not support this amendment. So that's that. Thanks. Anybody else, or can we call Commissioner Kowal?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. To my knowledge, FEMA does not reimburse this hazard pay. Am I correct on that? That's what I was told. Anybody know? I mean, it comes out of somebody's pocket, but it's liable to be affecting our budget, and we're going to have a lot of budget problems as it is going forward. So I would like an answer on whether or not this hazard pay is going to get reimbursed by FEMA. Can somebody get me that?
I haven't been told that. We also, Commissioner, we are in receipt of $219 million worth of CARES dollars. So this is not coming out of our general fund in any situation. I'm under the understanding that these are FEMA reimbursable costs, but I'm certainly more to ask. But regardless, doing the right thing for our police officers is what and our corrections officers and our people who have to be subjected to direct interaction with the public for our 24/7 operations seems warranted. Commissioner Gangel for a second time.
So I just want to make sure we're all clear. It's not about supporting our first responders and our police department. These people do this job every day. Commissioner Markham mentioned that we're asking them to go to Midland for a crisis. Throughout the years, they've responded to crisis after crisis without asking for incremental pay. It's part of their service and their duty. In fact, I don't think that they requested incremental pay under this situation. I think it was something that was voluntarily done. So I support this amendment, and I'm also trying to understand at what date are we going to get back to normal pay and normal operations?
Next up, I've got Commissioner Miller.
Thank you, Chairman. I've heard all the arguments, and I wonder how many of these personnel that Commissioner Gingell is talking about that actually are working in the jails with people that tested positive for COVID. I mean, we could say a lot of things, like, yeah, we can go back right now, we can't go back right now, but the facts are the facts, right? Our first line, our deputies are working within 10 feet of people that have known tested positive for COVID-19. And just to say, let's go back and let them go back to normal, and they potentially could take it back to their families, their loved ones. I mean, we got to protect ours that always protect us.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Taub.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Today, Lieutenant McClellan, who, as we all know, runs the jail. Lieutenant McClellan said that there are only 3 more cases left in the jail. People who have been isolated and who are getting better. We have had no deaths, 0 deaths in the jail because of the leadership of Lieutenant McClellan and, of course, our wonderful Sheriff Michael Bouchard. I don't know about deaths. I haven't inquired anyplace else, but as you well know, and we've read in newspapers and on air, our state prisons have had over 40 deaths in them from COVID, from prisoners. We have not had a death. We have 3 cases left in the jail. We have nobody else infected. I don't know about Children's Village yet. I would like to have a report on Children's Village and what's going on, but I'm very, very proud of the kind of work that was done in the Oakland County Jail, which is absolutely incredible and under these circumstances. So I'm wondering where the panic is and what's the date certain that we're going to stop this? Okay? Because obviously we're going to have outbreaks of COVID here and there, regardless of what. Are we going to next month give hazard pay? Then we'll stop it. Then we'll give it back in October. Then we'll stop it. Maybe it'll go away and come back in January. So we'll put more hazard pay in there. What is the policy of this board? I don't know that. And I don't see any policy being made here or any policy being suggested when this hazard pay is going to stop. I value every police officer. I value every firefighter. But I will tell you who else it's putting a big burden on. It's putting a big burden on our local police officers, our local fire departments, because quite frankly, none of them can afford hazard pay. None of them. So I want some answers. And since I'm not going to get any answers about this today, I expect that I'll have to wait. And I will support Commissioner Spiz's amendment, to the resolution, because I'm troubled. When is it going to stop? Okay, when is the end game? Will this go on for 2 or 3 or 5 more years? I don't know. That's not what leadership is about. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. All right, seeing no one else ready to speak, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Jackson was raising her hand. I don't know.
Oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner Jackson, I did not see. Commissioner Jackson.
Thank you. This is just going to be very quick. And I just wanted to respond to that comment about our jails. Our jail in Oakland County has been premier with testing. However, every inmate who is there does not have to undergo mandatory testing. They have inmates that are there that they're not sure of their status. And we were given that information in a report. So as far as the cases in the jail, we aren't 100% certain how many. And so if it was my family member working in the jail, and just from events that I'm seeing and just law enforcement and correction personnel, something may be going on with their level of tolerance. And I know that this pandemic is not helping that level of tolerance. And, you know, people may have spouses that might be working on the front line or might be unemployed. And so I feel as though we can assuredly should approve this through the June the, what is the date? June the 19th? 12th? I'm sorry, I don't have the exact date. But I feel as though it's warranted that we continue to offer this for our employees who are putting themselves at risk. Part of the resolution said itself that this is an active emergency. Okay, we don't have an end date to the emergency yet. So that speaks for itself. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Jackson. Seeing no further comment, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Yep. On the SPIS amendment, Commissioners Hoffman, muted, Commissioner Hoffman.
Commissioner Hoffman on the amendment, and give me a thumbs up.
Yes, please.
Jackson,
No, thank
Kokendorfer,
Yes.
Kowal,
Yes.
Kuhn,
Yes.
Long,
Yes.
Lubes,
No.
Markham,
No.
McGilvray,
No.
Middleton, thumbs up.
Middleton
Okay.
signals yes.
Yes. All right, Miller,
No.
Nelson,
No.
Howell,
No.
Quarles,
No.
Biz,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes.
Vipert,
Yes.
Woodward,
No.
Zach,
No.
Gershenson,
No.
Gingell.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 10 yeas, 11 nays.
An insufficient number voting in the affirmative, the amendment fails. That brings us back to the main motion. Commissioner Spitz.
Yes, I have another proposed amendment that I'd like to put forth. Be it further resolved that the Oakland County Board of Commissioners requires the county executive and his administration to renegotiate all hardship pay rates and reduce them prior to the next pay period or June 1st, 2020, whichever is sooner.
It's moved by Commissioner Spiz, seconded by Commissioner Gingell. Any discussion? Commissioner Spiz, would I speak to your Commissioner
Yes,
Spiz?
we have started off at 1.5. We have reduced it to 1.35, as has been stated earlier. I'd like to see the administration go and renegotiate with our union colleagues and try to reduce it even further. But I will leave that number up to them, whatever they can get negotiated.
Commissioner Quarles, followed by Commissioner Gingell.
Mr. Chair, I'm looking at the packet. I'm on page 16 of 17. I don't see these amendments. Did I not open up the
Should be
right
on
packet?
page 13, I believe.
I believe it's on page 13 of the packet. The amendments are at the very back, toward the end, but I'm looking at 13. I don't believe it's been updated since.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyway, Commissioner Gingell.
Yeah, I just want to speak in support of Commissioner Spiz's amendment. Again, this is giving the administration leeway to start negotiating the hardship pay down. I definitely remain concerned about the cost to the citizens. And, I think all of us have read that we're beginning to open up the county to bring our own employees back. So for those employees that are now going to be in contact with each other in county offices that could contact COVID, are we going to provide them hardship pay? Because if we're not, then it's probably not appropriate to be treating one group of employees different than another group of employees. And, I certainly respect our law enforcement officers, but they go into barricades, they go into shootouts, they go into things every day in the line of duty. And we need to figure out how to get this back to parity. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Gingell. I'm going to be opposing this amendment for the same reason. We're talking about extending the order. I'm supportive of the hazard pay for our law enforcement first responders, and the administration can negotiate at any time. This amendment's not necessary, so I'll be voting. Seeing no further comments, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Okay, on the Spiz second amendment and the Spiz amendment 2. Commissioners Jackson,
No.
Okendorfer,
Yes.
Howell,
Yes.
Kuhn,
Yes.
Long,
Yes.
Lubes,
No.
Markham,
No.
McGilvery,
No.
Middleton. Give a thumbs up. Okay, Miller,
No.
Nelson,
No.
Howell,
Yes. Wait, no, this is against, no, this is the Spears' amendment, correct?
Correct.
correct.
No.
I like the first answer.
Sorry.
Let the record, Powell votes no.
Commissioners Quarles,
No.
Biz,
Yes.
Todd,
Yes.
Weipert,
Yes.
Woodward,
No.
Zach,
No.
Gershenson,
Commissioner Gershenson, you turned your mic off before we heard you.
No.
Gingell,
Yes.
Hoffman.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 10 yeas, 11 nays.
An insufficient number voting in the affirmative, the amendment fails. That brings us back to the main motion before us. I see there's another amendment in the packet. Commissioner Spiz.
Yep.
Mr. Spiz.
I do offer another amendment, and this is simply changing the date from June 12th to June 5th. Mr. Chair, I move the motion for amendment.
Moved by Commissioner Spiz, seconded by Commissioner Gingell. Commissioner Spiz, would you like to speak to your amendment?
Yes, please, Mr. Chair. Thank you. There has been multiple comments today relative to meeting more often, and I have also heard comments from the administration that they would like to request us to meet more often, maybe once a week if possible. With that being the case, I'd like to recommend that we just have this discussion on a weekly basis and move on from there. So I'd like to request to move it from June 12th to June 5th.
Thank you, Commissioner Spiz. I'm going to be voting no on this amendment. I expect us to be meeting frequently, working on that calendar, and we'll let commissioners know about that. The June 12th deadline runs in concert with the governor's stay home order. And so I think we should keep it there for this one. If we want to continue that conversation at a future date, more than willing to entertain that. But I think we should move the resolution as the original resolution as presented. Commissioner Gingell.
Yeah, I just want to speak in the fact that I don't think we need to extend it at all, but reducing it from the 12th to the 5th is at least somewhat of a compromise, because the reality is we're not practicing good government here. Others talked about transparency, checks and balances, good government. There's no checks and balances at this point. And the reality is the board's giving up their ability to provide oversight. There are a number of contracts, no bid contracts, other things that are occurring right now that none of us on this board has any visibility and or say about. And that is not good government. That is not what this legislative branch is supposed to be doing. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Okay, on the Spiz third amendment, Amendment 3 by Spiz, Commissioners Kokendorfer,
Yes. Yes.
Cowell,
Yes.
Kuhn,
Yes.
Long,
Yes.
Lubes,
No.
Markham,
No.
McGilvray,
No.
Middleton.
Yes.
Hey, I heard you.
There he is.
Miller,
No.
Nelson,
No.
Howell,
We're on an amendment, correct?
It's an amendment, correct.
we're on the Spiz Amendment 3.
No.
Quarles,
No.
Spiz,
Yes.
Cobb,
Yes.
Weipert,
Yes.
Woodward,
No.
Zach,
No.
Gershenson, Gershenson,
Commissioner Gershenson? On the amendment. On the amendment? Okay. Thumbs up, thumbs
I
down.
can't. Okay. Yes. No.
Thumbs down. Gingell,
Yes.
Hoffman,
No, thank you. I mean,
Jackson.
yes. That was a yes.
Okay. Hoffman's a yes. Okay, Jackson.
No.
Okay, Mr. Chair, you have 10 yeas, 11 nays.
An insufficient number voting in the affirmative, the amendment fails. It brings it back to the main motion. Are there additional amendments? Commissioner Taub, on the main motion, or do you have an amendment?
I have some amendments. On the whereas that starts, whereas on
Is
April
it,
1st.
Commissioner Taub, is it written?
Yes,
Okay. Are they is it in the packet yet?
I hope so.
Okay. 1 second. So I didn't have it in my packet. So let me just refresh.
They are in the packet.
They're in the packet. Okay. Commissioner Taub.
The whereas, and I believe it's the 6th whereas whereas on April 1st, Governor Whitmer, April 1st, 2020, Governor Whitmer, with legislative concurrence, signed Executive Order number 2020-33, declaring a state of emergency expansion and additionally declaring a state of disaster to address the fast progressing COVID-19 pandemic. So I've added the words with legislative concurrence. I believe that when we, that we write history as it occurred, not as we wish it had occurred.
You'll
And
find that.
the legislature did concur with. So I'm moving that resolution, that amendment, excuse me.
What page is the amendment on?
Page
Okay.
16,
16.
16, you guys.
Page
I just found it.
I'm not going by a page. I'm just going by what I have written.
I support, Mr. Chair.
I only have 15.
Moved by Commissioner Taub, seconded by Commissioner Spiz. I'm going to oppose this amendment. The as it's written is accurate. That the executive order was signed, declared by the governor. So I will be opposing this amendment. Commissioner Taub.
Well, I think it's imperative, Mr. Chair, because we are a legislative body, and I think it should reflect what legislative bodies do, okay? She just didn't sign it. She had concurrence of the Michigan legislature, both houses. And so I think it's imperative that we put that in there so that our history is the same as the history in Lansing.
Thank you. Seeing no further comment, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
On the Taub amendment, Commissioners Kowal,
Yes.
Yes.
Kuhn,
Yes.
Long,
Yes.
Lubes,
No.
Markham,
No.
McGilvray,
No.
Middleton,
Yes.
Miller,
No.
Nelson,
No.
Powell,
No.
Quarles,
No.
Biz,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes,
Whitebird,
Yes.
Woodward,
No.
Zach,
No.
Gershenson,
No.
Gingell,
Yes.
Hoffman,
Yes.
Jackson,
No.
Okendorfer.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 10 yeas, 11 nays.
Insufficient number voting in the affirmative, the amendment fails. Brings us back to the main motion. We have more amendments. Commissioner Taub.
thank you. On the next whereas, I would like to amend it to say, whereas Governor Whitmer, without legislative concurrence, issued Executive Order 2020-100 on May 22nd, 2020, extending the stay home, stay safe restrictions to June 12th, 2020. I move that amendment.
Moved by Commissioner Taub, seconded by Commissioner Long. Commissioner Taub, you want to speak to your amendment?
Well, again, we rewrite, I do not like rewriting history. I like telling it as it is and as it was, and not changing it. And this is part of our historical document. And so that's why I'm proposing this amendment.
Thank you, Commissioner. I'll be opposing this amendment. The resolution as written is accurate and is not necessary. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
On the Taub amendment, Commissioners Kuhn,
Yes.
Long,
Yes.
Lubes,
No.
Markham,
No.
McGilvray,
No.
Middleton,
Yes.
Miller,
No.
Nelson,
No.
Powell,
No.
Quarles,
No.
Biz,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes,
Whitebird,
Yes.
Woodward,
No.
Zach,
No.
Gershenson,
No.
Gingell,
Yes.
Hoffman,
Yes.
Jackson,
No.
Kokendorfer,
Yes.
Kowal,
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 10 yeas, 11 nays.
An insufficient number voting in the affirmative, the amendment fails. Commissioner Taub. Oops, you turned off your camera.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have another amendment, and it is, I don't know which whereas it is, but it is whereas pursuant to Section 10 of Public Act 390 of 1976, MCL 30.410, the Board of Commissioners, and I'm adding the word unanimously, adopted MR 20116 on April 29th, 2020, authorizing the extension of the local state of emergency declared by the county executive on March 13th, 2020 until May 15th, 2020. And I believe that's in keeping with what was written in the previous paragraph of the resolution.
Commissioner Taub moves that amendment. Is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Gingell. Commissioner Taub on your amendment?
Yes. Yes, I'm sorry. I believe I don't have a copy of the resolution in front of me, but I can bring it up in a second. But I believe that is what is stated in the, here we go. Yike. Now I have to find the amendment. It is stated that we voted unanimously in March, so I felt it should be added unanimously in April as well.
Thank you, Commissioner. I'm going to be voting against this amendment. I don't think it's necessary. It's a whereas clause that addresses the actions of the board. See no further discussion, Madam Clerk? Oh,
Yes,
Commissioner,
I do.
you unmuted yourself, Commissioner Taub. Commissioner Taub, you need to unmute yourself. Commissioner Taub, Commissioner Taub.
Okay. We already have the word unanimously in the previous whereas, okay? Why is it inappropriate, Mr. Chair, if I may question, to put unanimously in the next line? Because that's what happened. It's already, or would you like me to delete unanimously from the previous whereas? Doesn't make any sense. It certainly is not consistent, okay? If you read it, it says,
Commissioner, I think you've made your point, Commissioner Taub. I just disagree with you. Madam Clerk, please call the roll on the amendment.
On the Taub amendment, Commissioners Long,
Yes.
Lubes,
No.
Markham,
No.
McGillivray,
No.
Middleton,
Yes.
Miller,
No.
Nelson,
No.
Powell,
No.
Quarles,
No.
Biz,
Yes.
Taub,
yes.
Whitebert,
Yes.
Woodward,
No.
Zach,
No.
Gershenson,
Commissioner Gershenson.
Oh, Lord, that rain is like it's about to thunder for real.
Freeze,
It rained last year.
You freeze Commissioner Gershenson? Oh, she's signaling she's voting no.
I think,
all right, Gershenson is a no. Thumbs
earlier
down.
with
Gingell,
Yes.
Hoffman,
It is the,
Yes.
Jackson,
No.
Kokendorfer,
Yes.
Kowal,
Yes.
Kuhn,
Yes.
They about to, oh no, you should go. They got a fleet of cars.
Commissioner Powell?
Once you say your
All
vote,
right.
if you, that would be helpful. Okay, Mr. Chair, you have 10 yeas, 11 nays.
An insufficient number voting in the affirmative, the resolution fails. Commissioner Taub?
Now, Mr. Chair, this one isn't written, but I'm going to suggest we remove the word unanimously from the previous whereas, because it's totally inconsistent.
Moved by Commissioner Taub to strike one word, seconded by Commissioner Gingell. Okay, I think we can suspend having to take time to write that up. I'm going to oppose it because the resolution reads fine. Madam Clerk, please call the roll on the Taub amendment.
On the Taub amendment, Commissioners Lubes,
No.
Markham,
No.
McGilvray,
No.
Middleton,
Come on.
Commissioner Middleton,
On the Taub amendment, can you give us a signal, yay or nay?
I'm gonna have to skip them, I think.
Skip them. And we'll come back to them.
I will come back. Okay, Miller,
No.
Nelson,
No.
Powell,
No.
Quarles,
No.
Biz,
Yes.
Taub,
Yes.
Piper,
Yeah.
Woodward,
No.
Zach,
Question mark.
Gershenson,
You're muted.
No.
thank you, Gingell,
Yes.
Hoffman,
Yes.
Jackson,
No.
Kokendorfer,
Yes.
Koa,
Yes.
Kuhn,
Yes.
Long,
Yes.
Middleton.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 10 yeas, 11 nays.
An insufficient number voting in the affirmative, the amendment fails. Commissioner Taub?
Yes, my next amendment says, whereas pursuant to Section 10 of Public Act 390 of 1976, MCL 30.410, the Board of Commissioners adopted, and in parentheses, my addition is Democrats 11 and Republicans 10, MR 20148 on May 13th, 2020, authorizing the extension of the local state of emergency declared by the county executive on March 1st, 2020 until May 28th, 2020. And I'd like to move that amendment, please.
Moved by Commissioner Taub. Seconded by Commissioner Gingell. You want to speak to the amendment, Commissioner Taub?
Well, once again, I think it's imperative.
Is this amendment written?
Yeah, I believe it is. It's on page, Commissioner Taub will come back to you. It's on page
19.
19.
Page 19.
And the amendment actually puts out how the vote happened on that particular resolution. Commissioner Taub?
Yes, I always feel that the vote counts, as I've indicated before, should be placed in when we speak of previous resolutions, so that people don't have to go back when they research things, if they choose to do so. It makes your record a very permanent record, and a record that tells you how things happened, rather than having to go back and look up all these other resolutions. How did people vote, and so on and so forth. I think it makes it much easier. It makes much more sense. So that's why I'm putting this amendment.
Thank you, Commissioner Taub. I'm going to be voting against this amendment. A, we've never done it, and B, the resolution as originally drafted is suitable. Madam Clerk, please call the roll on the resolution.
On the amendment.
On the amendment, excuse me. That's on the Taub amendment.
That's fine. Commissioner, on the Taub amendment, Commissioners Markham,
Sorry about that. No.
McGilvray,
No.
Middleton,
Yes.
Miller,
No.
Nelson,
No.
Powell,
No.
Quarles,
No.
Spiz,
Yes.
Staub,
Yes.
Whitebird,
Yes.
Woodward,
No.
Zach,
No.
Christensen,
No.
Gingell,
Yes.
Hoffman,
Yes.
Jackson,
No.
Kokendorfer,
Yes. Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Kuhn,
Yes.
Long,
Yes.
Loops? No. The chair, you have 10 yeas, 11 nays.
Insufficient number voting in the affirmative, the amendment fails. Commissioner Taub.
Thank you, Mr.
Commissioner
Chair.
Taub, we could put these amendments as one amendment.
Pardon me?
Okay, all the amendments we've been voting on could have been combined as one.
Makes too much sense.
Well, I'm sorry, sir, but I thought we had an opportunity to present each one and speak on each one as they came.
Certainly can.
But I guess we're doing it here.
Commissioner Taub. Go ahead.
This amendment says, it's a be it further resolved that a comprehensive report be provided to the Board of Commissioners on adoption of the resolution, listing all recipients and items sent to the recipient from the onset of the COVID-19, of COVID-19, excuse me, in Oakland County.
Moved by, this is the amendment that's on page 20. Moved by Commissioner Taub, seconded by Commissioner Middleton. Commissioner Taub on the amendment.
Yes, I think it is imperative for us as legislative body whose singular job, only job, is which we haven't been doing, by the way, at all, because we haven't been permitted to manage the budget and to dispense funding, okay? That's our job. I think we need to know who's getting the money. I want to know which groups are getting the funding, and we don't have that information. So that's why I propose that we get this information. It's a two-part deal to find out how much is spent on thus and such or PPEs and who's getting those PPEs. That's what I'd like to know. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Good. Commissioner McGilvery. Oh, your camera turned off.
Sorry about that. I'm back.
Commissioner McGilvery.
I'm going to be voting against this. The reason being is I don't have it in my packet. I didn't have the last two in my packet. I've refreshed my packet 4 times and it's not there. So I'll be voting no on this amendment.
Thank you, Commissioner. I'm going to be voting no for a different reason. The statements before, it's completely false that we don't get a weekly report. It's completely false that we cannot engage the administration at any time. It's completely false that any commissioner can't get the information that's being requested here. And so it's not necessary. And so I'll be voting no. Commissioner Gingell.
Yeah, I just want to say that I appreciate Commissioner McGilvery's comments. When you don't get information for these meetings that are not in your packet, it's very difficult. So I appreciate your comments there. The other thing I would say is that I'm very concerned about the emergency powers providing no oversight to the county executive's office relative to purchasing contracts and awards. They're not required to follow any standard purchasing process under the powers that we're giving them. And I look forward to seeing all the contracts that have been awarded to what companies with no bid contracts at what amount. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. I see no further comments, Madam Commissioner Spiz.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The reason I asked the question at the beginning about the agenda, because I'm wondering how many people have actually looked at the report that Sean Carlson has sent out. Because there's a lot of things on there that I would think this Board of Commissioners may want to question or at least know a little bit more information about relative to the spend. I mean, I believe this Board of Commissioners has approved $16.5 million. If you look at the very first page of the report, they spent $21 million today. I thought the administration came to us and has committed to us that they would come to us for any spends. And based on the numbers, that doesn't add up from what I'm seeing. So, you know, do we as a board of commissioners continue along this path to allow the administration to continue to spend on these items as they see fit? Or do we go back and put our duties back in place to question, manage the budget, you know, make sure that we're being fiscally responsible with all these monies? You know, so to me, and that's the other reason I put in for a week. You know, we should be watching these things. We should be going through the spends with a fine-tooth comb. I'm not sure everybody on this board of commissioners are looking at these numbers. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Spitz. Madam Clerk, please call the Commissioner Taub for a second time on this amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On May 14th, 2020, purchasing purchased 91 thermo works.
Commissioner Taub, please speak to this resolution. This amendment.
Thank you, I am. They purchased 91 ThermoWorks thermometers for a total cost of $729,144. That means that each thermometer cost $8,012.57. I don't know, number one, why they cost so much, because I thought they cost about $100. And number two, the wand kind, this is a wand thermometer, okay? And the second thing, more importantly, who is getting? Which 91 lucky people are gonna get an $8,012.57 ThermoWorks wand thermometer? Thank you, Mr. Chair. That's why I put this on.
I gotta say, on that point, that entire report will be discussed at the next pandemic committee, and I guarantee you and everybody else will be able to answer those questions thoughtfully. Madam Clerk, please, Commissioner Gingell for a second time.
On that same point, if you go through the report, you'll see other things like a restaurant in Southfield on Northwestern called Beans and Cornbread, which is really good because I've been there. But the county, I believe in a no bid contract, spent roughly $200,000 on food with beans and cornbread to go to the Lighthouse and another organization. And I'm just saying that I think it's important that this board has more oversight and is involved in these types of spending decisions. And we're giving up our responsibility. We're advocating our responsibility by continuing to expand the executive powers.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
On Taub Amendment 6, I believe. Commissioners McGilvray,
No.
Middleton,
Yes.
Miller,
No.
Miller,
No.
Nelson,
No.
Powell,
No.
Quarles,
No.
Biz,
Yes.
Taub,
Yes.
Wipert,
Yeah.
Woodward,
No.
Zach,
No.
Kirshenson,
No.
Frozen.
I think that was a no. Give me a thumbs down. No, correct?
No.
All right. Gingell,
Yes.
Hoffman,
Yeah. Yes.
thank you. Jackson,
No.
Kokendorfer,
Yes.
Cowell,
Yes.
Kuhn,
Yes.
Long,
Yes.
Lubes,
No.
Markham.
No.
Mr. Chair, you have 10 yeas, 11 nays.
An insufficient number voting in the affirmative, the amendment fails. That brings it back to the main motion before us, the main resolution. Any further discussion? I think we've talked it to death. Commissioner Spiz for a second time, or maybe it's the first time on the resolution. So
First time on
Commissioner
this one.
Spiz.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm just going to bring up one more time is I hope everybody goes through and looks at this report from Sean Carlson, because there's some things on there that are very interesting. One being a UVC machine that was bought for the sheriff's department. Does everybody even know what that is? I would expect everybody to ask that question. It's actually a pretty cool piece of equipment that was purchased. I happen to know what it is, but I'm sure 20 others on this phone may not know what that is. So I hope you look at it. Please ask the questions, because there's a lot of money being spent, some on very, very good things, some on some things that I would expect somebody would have a question on this call. Thank you.
Commissioner Gingell, followed by Commissioner Quarles.
Yeah, and I want to elaborate on Commissioner Spiz's point. What this body is doing is giving up their ability to have oversight on purchasing. It's also allowing the administration to purchase all kinds of items ranging from food to machines to thermometers without following any standard purchasing process. These are primarily all no bid contracts. It's a travesty. It needs to stop. And I am embarrassed that we're continuing to expand this and extend it. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Gingell. Commissioner Quarles.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't know why some of my colleagues just assume that we don't read the reports that are sent to us. And where I have questions, I have taken the time to ask not only Carlson, but other people within the administration to sit along with people that are the directors of the various departments. So I kind of offended by that remark. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Quarles. I'm just going to say that I disagree with some of the comments that have been made. I mean, this board has received more information. There's been more transparency on how every dollar has been spent than, frankly, any term of this board. We've required that weekly report of every dollar that's being spent. We get that report. Every member of this board is welcome to communicate to Mr. Carlson or anyone in the administration for greater clarification. We talk about it regularly at the pandemic committees. We have received an enormous amount of input, insight into how these things, how dollars are being spent. Furthermore, every dollar that's been used has been appropriated by this body and a pledge to have that continue to be the practice. And so I am comfortable. I have trust in the administration. Pandemic response and economic recovery will continue to review, talk, and spend as much time as necessary for people to ask questions to make certain that not only do we have a full understanding, but there continues to be complete transparency in how we spend these dollars as we get through the pandemic. See no further comments. Madam Clerk, please call the roll. Commissioner Hoffman.
Thank you, Chairman Woodward. And I appreciate all your comments, and I appreciate what the administration has done. I think the real concern is no bid contracts. And I try to look at it as if it were my own money. And if I wouldn't spend my money that way, I'm not going to spend the taxpayers' money that way. And I think it's important that we get people to bid on this, because if you don't, you're just asking for trouble. And again, it's not our money. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Hoffman. Commissioner Taub for a final time.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I do want to say that this board approved certain items with a vote of 10 to 11 or 11 to 10. Nothing has been unanimous on this spending. And yes, I can pick up the phone and I can call someone in the administration and ask for an explanation. However, it should be given to us in writing. And I am absolutely 100% positive, okay, that had Mr. Patterson still been alive and this had occurred, we would have screamed bloody murder and made sure that it was put in writing as it should be. Now, I find it very deceitful that you don't want to see and don't want to do your jobs. I just don't understand it. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. Madam Clerk, please call the roll on the resolution.
On the resolution, Commissioners Middleton,
No.
Miller,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Powell, Commissioner Powell, on the resolution? I will come back. Quarles,
Yes.
Spiz,
No.
Taub,
No.
Weipert,
No.
Woodward,
Yes.
Zach,
Yes.
Gershenson,
Yes.
Gingell,
No.
Hoffman,
No.
Jackson,
Yes.
Kokendorfer.
No.
Sorry, there's background noise. Kokendorfer,
No.
thank you. Kowal,
No.
Kuhn,
No.
Long,
No.
Lubes,
Yes.
Markham,
Yes.
McGilvery,
Yes.
Howell,
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 11 yeas, 10 nays.
A sufficient number voting in the affirmative, the resolution passes. Moves on to reports of special committees. Special order of business. Commissioner Todd.
Yes, I'd like to postpone my item to the next board meeting, please.
Will be given notice to discharge at the next board meeting without objection. Moves us on to the next one, Commissioner Cole, I believe.
Yes, thank you very much. I move to postpone this to the next board meeting.
Give notice to discharge in the next board meeting. We've done so without objection. Brings to unfinished business, brings us to new miscellaneous business. Can I click it? Oh, I can. Good. Commissioner Gingell.
Yes, thank you. I have a resolution requiring urgency from Governor Whitmer to open up Oakland County's economy, and I'm asking to suspend the rules.
Moving to suspend the rules. It's not a debatable motion. All in favor of suspending the rule? Madam Clerk, please call the roll and suspending the
We
rules.
need support.
Oh, sorry. Supported by Commissioner Hoffman.
Oh.
It's not a debatable motion, so Madam Clerk, please call the roll on suspending the rules and take up this matter.
On suspension of the rules, Commissioners Miller,
No.
Nelson,
No.
Howell,
Pass.
Quarles,
No.
Biz,
Yes.
Top,
Yes.
Wiper,
Yes.
Woodward,
No.
Zach,
No.
Gershenson,
No.
Gingell,
Yes.
Hoffman,
Yes.
Jackson,
No.
Kokendorfer,
Yes.
Kowal,
Yes.
Kuhn, Commissioner Kuhn? I did see that it said he left. Oh, I'll come back and see. Long,
Yes.
Lubes,
No.
Markham,
No.
McGilvery,
No.
Middleton,
Yes.
Howell, Kuhn,
Close the board.
Mr. Chair, you have 9 yays and 10 nays. Yeah. 9 yays, 10 nays.
Insufficient number voted in the affirmative. The rules are not suspended. Commissioner Gingell, would you like that referred to the Pandemic Response and Recovery Committee?
Yes, I would. Thank you.
Referred without objection. Next resolution, Commissioner Gershenson.
I'd like to introduce a miscellaneous resolution to encourage Oakland County voters to vote by mail in the 2020 August primary and in the November general election, and declare support for Michigan Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson's actions to mail out absentee ballot applications to all Michigan registered voters.
And you're referring
I'd
that to
like
the
to
Pandemic
refer-
Committee?
Right.
Referring to the Pandemic Committee without objection. I think that Are there any other new and miscellaneous business? Oh, Commissioner Zach?
Well, this is new business. I want to announce that MoGo Bike Share Program, MoGo North, is starting on June 4th. And I've worked hard on this, and I actually serve on their board. We are going to have the Detroit Bike Share Program starting in Detroit on Livernois, moving into 5 Oakland County communities, including Royal Oak, Huntington Woods, Ferndale, Oak Park. We're really excited about this. And frankly, people are riding bikes more. Their ridership is up. They have a lot of great cleaning, sanitizing processes. So it's another way for people to move around, and I'm excited that we're kicking it off soon.
Thank you, Commissioner Zach. I'm sorry, Commissioner Kokendorfer, I think I inadvertently, I didn't see it in my packet. I apologize. Commissioner Kokendorfer, I think I didn't officially move to announcements, so we're still under new and miscellaneous business. Commissioner Kokendorfer, do you have a?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I did have a resolution to introduce. It's in the packet that's been updated, but also I think Mr. Ward can also put it on the screen if he could.
It's in the packet. Do you know what page is it on?
It is on
16.
page.
The latest one looks to be 16.
It was just recently updated, so people may not have this. There, it's up on the screen now.
Yep, I see it.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, if I could speak to it briefly, I am concerned about.
Commissioner Kokendorfer, are you requesting a suspension of the rules?
I am.
Okay, there's a motion to suspend the rules. Is there a second?
And this is a resolution.
Wait, 1 second, Commissioner. Okay, there's a second by Commissioner Spiz. Commissioner Kokendorfer, this is not a debatable motion. All in favor?
I'm saying the title of the resolution.
Please call the roll on suspending the rules.
On suspension of the rules, Commissioners Nelson,
Pass.
Powell,
I think she's gone.
Quarles,
No.
Is
Here.
and Powell speaking. Who was saying here?
Sorry, they were trying to catch the phone for me. We doing a vote on something? I'm sorry.
This is on suspension of the rules.
For what?
A resolution introduced by Commissioner Kokendorfer. It's on page 17 of the packet.
Okay.
What is the title of it?
I don't have it in front of you.
Maybe there's 2 people on the phone that cannot see the packets.
Keep talking the roll.
Powell on suspension of the rules.
Pass.
Commissioner Quarles,
Is this extension of the rules?
sorry, suspension of the rules. I think you may have already voted, but I didn't.
I did. I already voted. You started with me.
I started with Nelson, but just with all of the
But I was the
discussion.
first one to vote.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
And I said no.
Thank you. Spiz.
Yes.
Can I ask what the title is? I don't have a copy of it.
We're in the middle of
Unemployment.
Commissioner Taub. I'll let you know afterwards.
I won't vote on something I don't know what I'm voting on.
It's on suspension of the rules.
I know, but what, send the rules for what, Madam Clerk? Would you
Commissioner,
repeat?
please continue calling the roll.
Yeah, this is
It's on the
terrible.
screen.
Are you passing or?
I think she's
I just
passing.
need a yes or no or pass.
Pass.
Okay, thank you.
Point of order,
Whitebird.
Mr. Chair, I do
Yes.
believe that we need to have at least the title of the resolution read. We need
It
at
was
least
on the
that.
screen, but Chris Ward put it on the screen, but it was taken down. It's from Adam Kokendorfer. Unemployment.
And there's several people who are not,
Right.
are on the phone and not able to read it. Just read the
Right.
title. Thank you.
Madam Clerk, do you have the resolution in front of you?
I do not, no.
I can read it if you allow me, Mr.
Mr. Chair,
Chair.
may I read the title?
I think I asked staff to read the title.
When it was on the screen, I did see that it was something about.
We have the, I have it if you want me to read it.
Unemployment claims. Right?
Yes, it's a miscellaneous resolution. Request the state of Michigan to improve process for unemployment claim.
Okay, can I
Keep going.
continue?
Madam Clerk, please
Please
continue calling the
do.
roll on suspension of the rules.
On suspension of the rules. I am at Commissioner Weipert,
Yes.
Woodward,
No.
Zach,
No.
Gershenson,
No.
Angel,
Yes.
Hoffman,
Yes.
Jackson,
No.
Okendorfer,
Yes.
Kowal,
Yes.
Kuhn,
Thank you, left.
Long,
Yes.
Lubes. No. Markham,
No.
McGilvray,
No.
Middleton,
Yes.
Miller,
He's offline.
He's left the meeting.
Nelson,
No.
Powell,
No.
Cobb,
Yes. Yes.
you only get one vote. And Kuhn has left, is that correct? And Miller is also not here, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Quarles votes no, Madam Clerk.
Yeah, I had you as a no. Mr. Chair, you have 9 yays and 10 nays.
An insufficient number voted in the affirmative. The motion to suspend the rules fails. Commissioner Kokendorfer would like to refer to the Pandemic Response and Recovery Committee without objection.
Yes, thank you, Chair.
Referred without objection. All right, now that I think is there any other new miscellaneous business? Commissioner Long.
Okay, it may be a comment. Please, my fellow commissioners, this is horrible with everyone leaving their screens, not answering. I mean, I don't know how the clerk's even keeping track. You got it. You know, when we have a meeting, don't leave your meeting spot. It's not fair to any of us. This, you know, I mean, they added an extra 20 minutes today with people not there, gone, this, that, off the. I get the offline stuff, but the other stuff, please, I'm saying it to all of you. Get your stuff, your act together, and let's do this meeting faster, please. It just doesn't look very professional. It's hard for the clerk to even call roll. Thank you. I'm kind of embarrassed. It didn't go very smooth. So
thank you, Commissioner
thank you,
Long.
please.
On to announcements. Are there any further announcements? Seeing none, that moves us to adjourn June 11th, 2020 at 9:30 a.m. or the call of the chair. Meeting adjourned.
Good night, everybody.
Stay safe.